converted to vinyl, so it's really a fashion item.
Is HI-REZ Music Festival going to be the next step where you get some of the artists and play and record concerts?
The question was whether
Good idea.
it would be a PONO music
I'll be the
festival.
production manager for it.
All right. That's a good idea.
Valuable networking
Live
opportunity.
music on PONO. We'll go to Bonnaroo and record everybody and then play it back. But, you know.
When you, are you talking to Steve Jobs, when did something switch, like with PONO, as far as how you got to this place? What was the most important thing in terms of making it a company? You talked to traditional investors. We know about the Kickstarter campaign. Can you talk a little bit about how the company actually came to be?
Well, in the very beginning, my friend Mark Benioff and I were talking about music, like I mentioned this before, and we just constantly we visit the Hawaiian Islands, and every time we go over there at the same time, we get together and we talk about it. He encouraged me to keep on doing what I was doing, and we talked, and we figured out that the goal was, really the only goal was to make sure that music came out a lot better, that we put music up to where it was. And he said, you just stick with that goal and we just stay focused on that one thing and don't get distracted by all the other things, and you stay with it, you may succeed. So, 10 years later, we started around 2010, 2011, we started trying to build the first player. And I went through a lot of people trying to find the right technology to put in the player until I finally came up with this about 18 months ago. We settled on this.
Well, when you got serious about it and you started dealing with, like the tech world, what was that interface like? When you went around, it was either looking for investors
Oh, you
or
mean
talking
the
about how to
investor
get
world?
it. Yeah.
Oh, it was a complete joke. I mean, there are some very brilliant people out there, but they're brilliant in their investment prowess. They can see what they want to do. This is not about a fast thing. It's not going to make you a hero next week to get behind PONO this week. But PONO is a long-term, slow reawakening, and this is the beginning. And it's not going to go away. People talk about it all the time because of, who knows? Because people like music. Some people really love music and they really want it to be great. So that's what keeps this going. It's not me, it's not any hype. You can't describe music in a couple of words and get the point across. It is what it is. Just quality is all we care about. Quality of something you can feel in your soul. That's what we're looking for.
You've talked about, I think you said recently that the next decade for you have your Blink Volt car, you have your activism, you have a lot of different things going. You talk about the next decade for you might be primarily non-musical. Would you still say that?
I can't really say that because I don't know. I don't know much. I don't know much about the future. I don't really know where it's all going, but I do want to do this. I want to continue playing music, and I think that those two things should keep me pretty busy. Film editing and things to do on the side.
Any more books planned?
I'll probably be writing some books. I hope so, I want to keep doing what I do. I would like to be able to continue doing it for a long time. I'd like to see this in the hands of a lot of people, not because I want to make a lot of money. The ones they have may not look like this. It may look like a phone, but it may have our technology inside of it, and it may be certified by us, or if they want to use our name, it may be licensed by us. But that's the goal, because in the end, that means everybody gets to hear the music. And to hear the music, we've supplied the music. We have a place where you can put the music, where artists can put their music, record companies can put it, and everybody can put their music there in its highest resolution, and then this player will pick it up and play it back, and it'll go around the world. So that's what we want to do, is make it possible for people to have what they want. Then when they make their choice, it'll be truly from freedom of choice, from knowledge of what's available.
You talked a little bit about going around to investors, and then, of course, I think there are people saying, investors, traditional investors who had their doubts, and then there's the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
last year. Can you talk a little bit about what that meant?
Kickstarter just showed that people, music people want this. But investors, they look at it and they go, well, this is just, music's over. We're not interested in a music player. I mean, we don't have a watch that I can control the trunk latch on my car. What can you do with that? Here we are. How many trunk latch openers do you have? Probably quite a few competitions. But music is music. I mean, everybody loves music. Some people love it more than others. Some people can't live without it. Some people don't care about it. They're tone deaf and they're not interested. The thing is, if you love it, this will give it to you. This gives it to you the way it is. And then you feel it. And feeling is really what this is all about. So if this little device, and especially our music store, starts something, and it's PONO, and it's a PONO community of music lovers around the world that are just looking for PONO quality, no matter what brand is presenting it, no matter where it's coming from or where it's going. If it says PONO on it, it should be to the level of the things that I'm talking about. It goes through our provenance, it goes through all of our research to make sure that the tracks are not like they haven't been double sampled to make them have higher numbers so that you fake people out thinking they're getting something they're not getting. Our tracks go through a program that checks and makes sure that they are what they say they are. But some other companies have had trouble with that. But it's a growing thing. It's a burgeoning exercise in regaining the quality of a certain thing. That's what we're doing.
What's next for PONO? What's the next thing? When is the player actually going to be available?
The player's available. There's 20,000 of them in circulation right now. We're making more next year. We're taking orders for more. I think our first order is pretty well sold out. We're taking into the next step. We're getting more orders than we have players. And we have more orders than we have venture capitalists. No one's really interested in rescuing an art form when you could open the trunk of your car from your wrist.
And I have to ask, what are your plans for the next year? Do you have any albums?
I'm going to keep doing this and doing this. I'm working on another album now. I'm going to be doing with Willie Nelson's sons, and it's going to be called the Monsanto Years.
Food company.
It's an upbeat review.
You don't get rid of the summer.
That's right. Go get yourself a hot dog and listen to this.
Right onto it, like from a record player analog hooked up to it? Or do you have to go to a computer and
You have to make a digital file of your record through any one of the hack beats or whatever that you have.
The question was whether you can record directly onto a player.
Yeah. No, you can't.
And any touring plans?
Touring plans? No.
Crazy Horse? Any?
No, I might
do. You
do.
have to ask these questions.
I did a tour last year called Honor the Treaties that went across Canada to try to help the Aboriginal First Nations tribes to enforce their treaty rights in the Constitution of Canada, which would stop, the oil in the Alberta tar sands area because the Indians all have control over that. Yet they've been, So I did my thing to raise money to help them defend themselves. And if I do anything this year, I might do that again in a bigger way because first it succeeded, but it succeeded more than a lot of the artists I was trying to get thought it would. So now maybe if we do it again, we'll get more artists. But that kind of thing's interesting. At this point, it's interesting to try to do something meaningful and to try to make some sort of a difference because I've attained a certain level, which I feel now a responsibility to use for positive things rather than just getting my name in People magazine or something. I didn't say any other magazine. I say that, my mic on?
Well, here's a related question. Now, I mean, you are an equipment, manufacturer.
No, we're not. We're not. This is a temporary situation. We want other people to make this. We would love someone else to make this player, and we'd love to enable other people to make players. We'll share the technology, and once we review what you've built, if we say you did it right, then you're PONO. And then, we'll sell the music, and we'll make sure the music is right. So it's a worldwide commitment to improving the sound of music.
What commitment do you have from the music industry? I mean, it's pretty obvious you can take the old record from analog and apply that technology, but most of the digital music, you have the mastering and all these things, and what catalog are the people going to have as a choice? I love the idea of freedom of choice, and thank you for doing that step for us, but what commitment, how can we help getting the music industry, bringing these treasures of music to the PONO technology?
Well, we're doing that. We have 2,100,000 songs available on PONO now that are all from the major labels. And our quality goes from 44.1 up. And there's much more at 44.1 at the CD level than there is at the higher level for obvious reasons. A lot of the masters were made for 44.1. Many of them can be rescued and made higher quality. And that's one of our main pushes with the record companies is to, okay, let's upgrade this. You have an analog master of this classic, like Thriller or something by Michael Jackson. It's available in 96. Let's take it, let's re-record it to 192 and make it available for everybody. So we're always pushing all the record companies to raise the bar and to sell the quality that they have. And that's what we do. But we are doing well. We are just starting to ingest now all of the independent labels, and we are continuing to ingest material from the commercial labels, from the big three, Universal, Sony, and Warner Brothers. So we are doing what it is that you're saying, and it's available on PONOmusic.com, and that's where you go to buy it. Once you get one of these players, you can download it. You can sync up your player and download the music right into your player and take it with you.
Will the music be available anywhere? Is there a difference between that format and FLAC?
No, the player will play anything, but what PONO Music sells is FLAC files. FLAC files at any resolution available. We make it the highest resolution available, and we've chosen FLAC.
The question was there any difference, just for people who didn't hear, between the PONO format and FLAC and audio quality? Yes.
No, you can play back other FLAC or WAVE or whatever. You can play back other things on this, but you can't buy anything other than FLAC on the store. That's what we sell, and we believe in it. We listen to it.
Why do you call it PONO?
PONO is a Hawaiian word for righteous, the one, the original, the essence.
Play something.
We'll turn into a bit of an informal Q&A. We'll take one more question from the audience and then start to wrap it up.
It seems that artists are still using an awful lot of audio compression and limiting on their albums, which ruins the sound of the music. Are you encouraging artists to use less compression and limiting?
Well, artists are using compression and limiting in their recordings now to improve the sound of their final products, the MP3s. But artists even in the 60s and 70s, when I started recording, were using compression, but it was audio compression, not digital compression, to make their records sound louder. The loudness wars have been going on there's nothing new about that. It's been going on forever. But the sound of records and the sound of music, if the artist wanted to compress it to make, because that's the sound they wanted, that's one thing. If they had to compress it in mastering to make it work for an MP3, they can remaster and take that off because they don't need that anymore. With this as full dynamic range, we'll play back everything. An MP3 file has approximately 5% of the data of one of these 192.24 files. So they had to do something. So they made everything the same volume, so that everything hits hard, and there's no life and there's no dynamics left in the music. But it is loud. So that was their goal, and they succeeded.
Oh, one more question.
Why did the finals start at $18?
Well, actually, the file for an album starts at $15.99. All of the, and it goes up to $24, $25, depending on what you buy, whether it's a double album or a single album. It can go even higher. The prices are based on the prices set by the record companies. PONO is we're bringing it to you. We bring it to you at the price that they charge. If more people buy this and this becomes more popular, perhaps the prices will even out and come down. All you have to do is look at gas prices. You know, people stop buying gas. Prices went way down. They start buying it again, the price goes up. The record companies set the prices. We deal with what we get and we pass it on to you. We have to make our cut because we got 5 employees to pay. Pretty huge.
I guess I have a related question to that. Audio quality aside, what do you make of all the kind of the issues that artists have had with Spotify and that sort of thing, people pulling their catalogs off it? Do you have an opinion?
The record companies made some of the stupidest moves ever made when they made the deals that they made. And they even, there's all kinds of things that happened that have been wrong, but they're, thank God, all tied to low res. They're all tied to low res. HI-REZ is still the record companies, and the record companies, for whatever the technology companies have said about the antiquity of the record company mentality, the record companies are based on preserving the art, preserving the artists, and helping nurture the artists and making this happen. Most of them are like that. Not every record company, but most of them, that's their mission. And I think that if they serve the product that they have, just like a fruit company with great oranges, if they have organic oranges and they put them out there and they're fantastic, then everything's going great. Then one day, if they decided to take all of that out and make the oranges by Monsanto and only have 5% of the goodness that was in them in the first place when they naturally grew, then that's just the way things go. You have to be able to locate the quality, decide if you want it, and then support it if you want it. If you don't care, that's okay too. There's a lot of people in the world. It's okay. You just want to be able to have what you want to have. This gives you a chance to recognize the top drawer and experience it and feel it and decide whether this is what you want. It's what I want. I listen to music now for the first time in 15 or 20 years. I couldn't listen before. I just got my first player, maybe a year ago, and I started downloading about 6 months ago off our beta site, and when this was basically falling apart at the seams. And we spent 6 months bringing it together and more together, making it more and more user-friendly. Till now, I think it's definitely the best high-res music download site in the world, and this is the best player for high-res music in the world, and the two of them go hand in hand. And they're for music lovers, and that's all it is. I hope everybody who makes players will come to see the wisdom of using this. And we're not trying to make it costly or hard to get. It's just a matter of if people want it, they want it. You can't hype this. There's no reason in hyping it. You can't say, oh, that sounds better than everything else, because nobody cares. You got to hear it. You got to hear it and tell your friends if you like it. It's all about the people.
Do you also recommend the kind of speaker or headphone one should use with the phone?
What was that?
I didn't
What kind of headphones would you
Speaker,
recommend?
how it should
Or
be
speakers?
Well, I think if you use buds, you should use buds that fit in your ears. Everybody's got different ears. We tried to figure out what bud was right for PONO. This bud's for you. Everybody has different ears. So, you got to pick on we're going to come up with something we like, but we do like the fact that the PONO player plays back balanced output if you want it. Balanced is superior to single wire. It has two outputs. There's one for each ear. There's a difference. It's a noticeable difference in the quality. Any audiophile will tell you that balanced playback is where it's at. So you can get balanced phones and play them back through your PONO device, providing the PONO device has got two outputs.
Neil Young, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.